hello. Hey, Alicia. Julie, hello. Good evening to you both. Oh, it is a beautiful Monday. Yes, we had just gorgeous weather today and yesterday too. Um, Windy yesterday, but beautiful today. So, how are the both of you? What have you been up to? And what is the weather in your region? We're right now about 82 degrees, the sunny, clear skies, and dry, so it's not very humid. Um, well, jolly good and sweaty, you know. I I so don't like those temperatures. I think Wednesday here we're going to be back up in the 90s, somewhere around there. Hey, Patty, good evening. Christina, hi. It's hot in Northern California. What part of Northern California? Because Heaven's Essentials is in California too, but not northern part. But um, your 80s and sunny and Sunflower Marsha, how are you tonight? Um, it's like um, so yes, Wednesday we're supposed to hit 90, Thursday 87, Friday and Saturday 80 degrees, which will be actually kind of nice. Um, because that's my dad's wake and funeral Friday, Saturday. So that we'll have good weather for that is going to be nice. It's going to be very nice. Yeah, no rain in the forecast till next Monday. So a good dry week. I'm hoping I can get some things done. Sunny and warm gets more windy and more rain. It's great, keeps it from getting too hot. Yeah. Still hot out there, but cooling down starting tomorrow. Good for you. I hope we don't. Well, Wednesday, Thursday might be our heat from you guys. Orinda, which is the Bay Area, just inland of San Francisco. Okay, Christina. Um, yeah, you guys connect there somehow. Hey, Grammy Karen, 82, Southeast Kentucky. Um, I'm sure it's probably humid there. I saw Jen and Zach's thumbnail. I haven't been able to watch any videos for a while, but I saw the thumbnail about getting hit by lightning. So I was like, oh, I hope it was nothing too serious. So I will. Sorry, there's gnats coming in here. Carrie, good evening to you. Thank you, Alicia. I appreciate that. Um, who did I miss somebody? Oh, Sunflower Marsha. I think I said hi. If I didn't, hello. I've got all of these wonderful blue peeps here who are greeters and not only greeters but defenders and have my back. So you guys are amazing. I haven't thanked you for a while, and before we get going, I want to thank all of my moderators. Dave isn't here yet, but you guys are wonderful and amazing, and I love you guys so much. And thank you for what you do. I really appreciate it. Is it no Sam? I'm not sure what you wouldn't be seeing, but they're really fortunate with the lightning strike. Oh, good. Nothing got damaged in the way of home or anything, so sounds good. You guys are welcome. Thank you. Oh, it's been wild. Yes, we beat Kathy's Wild Blue Wrench crew. There you go. The more I learn about your history, Patty, the more that fits. Oh, they see little gray grandmas and they don't realize what we did in our younger years, right? Yeah. Oh, I wouldn't even be surprised if like you were a race car driver or something, So sorry, I got a lash or something in my eye. So what have you guys been up to this last week or anything over the weekend? I went to a parade yesterday that was just all marching bands, and it was wonderful. It was a cool day. It was very windy. Well, 20 miles an hour from the northwest, but so we're getting all the cool air from the Canadian brothers and sisters up there. But we topped out at 68 degrees. So when you got 68 and that kind of wind, and you're sitting there for 3 hours or 4 hours, whatever it was, for a parade, it got a little chilly. I had a hoodie on and my baseball cap, and I was just like bundled up, and it's still cold. I could have used a blanket. Christy, hello. Julie went to the nice, cool coast. Oh, sounds so wonderful. Carrie, you've been canning? Awesome. What kind of things you've been canning? And Grammy Karen, you canned 4 pounds of cucumbers into sweet pickles. Ooh. Huffman House, hello. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I'm getting there. It's ups and downs. Today was a very packed day, so I was getting a little cranky. So you guys are a joy to be with tonight. So, but otherwise, it's going to be up and down, I think, for a little while. But more the stress of getting things finished and done, and going through the estate, and funeral, like I said, this Saturday. The wake is Friday night, so trying to get everything ready and done for that. You're riding your e-bike. Nice. You went to a vintage bicycle swap meet and gardening. That's so fun. Connie, your life is gardening and bicycles, and that's just like so sweet. It's just like, you talk about a vintage bicycle swap. It's like that's kind of vintage lifestyle in a way too. I think that's so great. You were a mole in your cool apartment during this heat wave. Oh, I hear you. Christina, you're in process of sorting, packing, and moving after 33 years. Oh, that's hard. Oh my goodness. I do not look forward to having to move out of this place. I mean, I know it's coming not too far down the line, but it's like I've been here 27 years, so I know. Carrie, you were canning sweet potatoes, beef, chicken vegetable stew, candied carrots, baked beans, beef. Oh, I got to come over to your place and eat. That looks great. Alicia, you put your tomato plants outside in the greenhouse. Nice. Oh, good. We went to our duck pond as usual. Love feeding the ducks. Oh, I'm so glad they're growing and doing well. Thank you, Christina. Yeah, it's been a lot, and so but yeah, from Orinda to Oakland. Okay. Your Uncle Jim passed on the 25th. I'm so sorry. So one of the things I've had to do is go through all of our digital files and everything. And then we were going through a lot of photo albums trying to find, pictures for the boards and stuff. But I just got to show you a couple of pictures of my dad. And they're going to have up. So this is his high school graduation picture. And it's the original. So high school graduation. Handsome guy, wasn't he? So that was high school. That would have been 1948. So 1948, there he is. And let me see. He was in the Army, but he always wanted to be in the Navy. So here's a little picture of him. But and then my mom and dad, when they got married, look at that, 1954. 54. And there's another one at there. Yes, he was losing his hair already. So mom and dad. And so This one, I love this picture of mom, and I get to keep this one actually. So thank you guys. It looked like Popeye with a pipe. Yes, Carrie, they are treasured photos. This is my mom. Think Jackie O, right? And that was already after a couple kids. So, I mean, how can somebody look that good after having children, you know? It's like she was just always without being a super fashion person, she just carried herself well. And I think she actually made her own clothes. So, anyway, it's kind of fun. But this was, when was this taken? Maybe 7 or 8 years ago. So they were at a family party outside and dancing. So they were dancing outside. So it's one of my favorite photos too. You just never caught mom with a giddy look on her face or a little schoolgirl look on her face. So anyway, I just thought I'd show you a few pictures here. And then their legacy family. Big family. Sorry, I hope it's probably too blurry. So it's kind of neat to see that their start and that comes down the line with that. So anyway, going through all of these. Some of these were from mom's funeral that we were able to keep, which was great. So we don't have to reprint those. But then going through thousands of photos, but going through all those and picking out ones for dad and you know, and trying to find out what we want and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, it's been fun, challenging, hard to look at sometimes, especially when there's one picture I have of my dad and my brother were both gone. So it's like, you know, it's so you're disappointed in your mom and your blue jeans. She never was without lips. Oh, you were a disappointment to your mom. Got it. Thank you guys. Kind words. Oh, thank you, Chrissy. It's you know, yeah, our whole family, and then trying to get through everything in the next couple of months too, and adjust. And I so need a vacation. But it'll come. It will come. So anyway, I thought I'd show you pictures of my mama and dad. So all right. So I have actually, I don't know if you've probably seen this. I think most of you follow Roots and Refuge. I don't know if any of you follow Homesteading Family in Idaho or not, but both of them, now different parts of the country, you know, different things, they've both gotten bad soil, even though it's from, like, Homesteading Family is soil from a place that they've always ordered from, never had a problem. Roots and Refuge, of course, they're in a new state, new part of the country, and so they're still figuring out their vendors and all that kind of stuff. But you know, just trying to find places that have good soil for your garden and everything. But both of them, both Jess and Homesteading Family, Josh, they got some soil, created beds, and planted, and things have done either so poorly or not grown at all. And it's just like all of that seed, the thyme, all that kind of stuff in there. And things just, it came down to the soil. And what had happened is they got soil that had herbicides in them. And if you're not familiar with what an herbicide is, it's a chemical poison that is meant to kill weeds. And in effect, it ends up killing a lot of other plants too. A lot of soil comes from barnyards, you know, and different things when they, you know, clean up after the cows or the horses or whatever they have. And, you know, they put it in piles, compost it, and it turns into soil or dirt. And then they sell it to excavating companies or something like that. But they sell it to companies who will then turn around and sell that as composted manure, organic soil, all that kind of stuff. But it can filter down from just like the cows eating hay that had been sprayed, and then that goes through their system, they process it, and then it goes into that. So it can come through all of that. It can be, um, they could mix the manure with straight hay that had been sprayed, or straw or something for bedding, and put that into something that composts and breaks down, and they sell that dirt. So Grazon, yep, Grazon is the main herbicide that has been the issue. There are a lot of things. So Carrie, anyone else lose weight during canny? Oh my goodness. It's a lot of work. It is a lot of work. And yeah, you don't want to stop and make a meal, right? You just keep, you contribute to canning the food instead of eating it. Yep. On video for future generations. Oh, thank you, Christina. That's a good idea. Your pepper plants acted like they may have gotten some bad compost. Okay. Yeah, so normally if you've got good soil, things will just pop up and start growing and be healthy. Of course, you're dealing with other elements too, other pests in your garden, all that kind of stuff. But if you're trying to organic garden and you're doing everything you can and things just aren't coming up, or they're stunted, they just look really bad, they're not growing, your soil may be the culprit. There's even some bagged soil that you can get that is full of stuff too. So it's just like trying to find out what your source is. And hey, Gil. Oh, no worries. No worries. Yeah, so trying to, figure all that out. But yes, like if you have a company near you that will deliver soil, ask them where it comes from. Find out the farm maybe that it comes from. Find out if they spray everything, with herbicides and stuff. Grazon, like you said, was just all the other things that go on. So, if it's something that you're just, filling in somewhere that you're not growing anything, that might be a different issue, but it will even affect your lawn too. Grass seed won't grow as well. It'll be all that. So, sorry, there's a bug flying around. Yeah, you just want to make sure that what you're putting in your garden, especially if you've been working your garden for a long time and you need to add more soil to it, you need to add more things. And it's like you get this and all of a sudden things just aren't growing. And it's like, oh, it can be really frustrating. Grazon laden straw came into a large composting facility that thousands of people get their compost from. Oh, good. Oh, my goodness. Yes. I think one of the big things that's happening is that all of a sudden we've got this influx or push of so many people gardening, and a lot more people needing organic soil, some good dirt, compost, whatever. And those companies are not able to keep up with it. So I think they might be, I don't know. It's a possibility getting soil from somewhere else and labeling it as organic, that type of thing. So, just make sure that whatever facility you get it from is trustworthy. Yes, cutting corners, exactly. Because they need to stay in business, and they're trying to service the people and get everything done. Of course, the very best way, if you are able to, I'm not, as I don't have animals or enough, greenery around here to do that, but to be able to actually create your own soil from all of your yard and garden waste, from your animals, from the rabbits, the chickens, any other manure that might be there, goats. Yes. And if your cows and horses are eating um, regular, grass that has not been sprayed organically and everything, then you know where everything is coming from. You know the source of it. So it is ultimately that's the best way to go. If you can find even a local farmer who does organic crops and everything, they grow organically, and I actually know a couple personally, so I should probably check with them. But if you know somebody that is organically growing, then I would, or farming, see if you can get some, even if it's like a garbage can full of just manure, and then add it to your compost pile or something like that. And you know um, you don't necessarily want to carry that in your car, but somehow get it. But anyway, so just to think about that and think about sources and everything. Um, yep, yep. Unless they only compost plant material from, yeah, exactly. So it is really challenging. So just ask them if it's clean of herbicides, and like I said, do the research of your source. But if you end up getting some toxic soil, that things are just not growing and everything, you can still work at amending it. It's going to take some time, but what we do is just not. And unfortunately, if you spread it around all of your beds, of course, that's going to be hard. But if you've only added it to one or two out of, say, 8 beds or something like that, then just don't grow veggies in there for this year and everything. Just so you can work at trying to clean it up, so to speak. And there are some ways. Thank you, Carrie, for coming. That was very sweet of you. So it's like it's not all is lost, but you can work at doing this. So it doesn't have to be a deal breaker, um, you know. And anyway, so there are plenty of ways that you can do things you can do to improve your soil. First of all, add organic matter. Okay, just more organic matter. And so they said that that's the single most important ingredient to improving any soil, whether it's toxic or clay or sand or anything like that. So it will create the necessary changes to dramatically improve anything that you have over time. Um, the organic matter that you put into your soil is really anything that comes from the earth that you can return to the earth, preferably in its decomposed or composted state. So you think organic matter is like, well, what's organic matter? If it came from the earth, it's going back to the earth. Okay. Some things that you can use that are items that you can get outside, everything, are shredded leaves, rotted manure, worm castings, grass clippings, just to make sure there are no seeds or weeds in those grass clippings, plant debris, ground up bark. You don't want big hunks of bark in there because that will damage any plants trying to come up. And it'll take a long time for it to decompose. So if you can have bark that's all ground up, and however you would do it. So I don't know if you would, boy, I don't know. How would you grind up bark? You wouldn't want to run it over with your mower. Anybody have ideas on how to grind up bark? But anyway, so and then grind up, trees and limbs and stuff too. I'm thinking of just like many of these small chunks of bark, and it's kind of hard to go through a wood chipper, something like that. But trees and limbs, if they have wood chipper, that type of deal, you can use those. Those are all examples of organic matter. I know, Patty. It's just they continue to use that. We just keep doing it. So some things that you can use for organic matter from in your house would be shredded paper, paper towel rolls and like toilet paper rolls, because those, if you've ever gotten those wet, they just like, you know, they kind of just fall apart really quickly, right? So paper towel rolls, toilet paper rolls, that type of thing. Any plant-based food scraps, not meat. You don't want meat food scraps, but any plant-based, um, whether like lettuce, celery, carrot scraps, just different things like that. When you're peeling potatoes or peeling carrots, all this stuff is great. Yeah, and good point, Gil. Yes, thank you, Alicia. um, you need a good chipper to grind up the bark. Yeah, that's what I kind of thought, maybe so. But yes, add a little at a time. Don't dump a whole bucket full in at one time. Exactly. Um, so coffee grounds are another good thing that can come from inside. And all of those are really good to add to your compost pile. So while you could add those directly to your soil, it's really best to store those somewhere on your property in a pile, make your compost pile, allow them to decompose. Then when it's all broken down and everything, and you don't recognize it anymore as a banana peel, then it's ready to go into your garden soil and immediately go to work. I know I've mentioned this before, and I think it's really a great idea. Prepsteader Bob had one thing that he has is he had gotten an old what do you call it, garbage disposal. Just got the unit for it. Set it up in, you built a frame and everything, set it in a sink, set it outside, and puts a bucket underneath that. And he puts all of his food scraps and everything in there, and then grinds them up so they go right into this bucket. So now you don't have a banana peel, you don't have big leaves of lettuce, you don't have all this stuff. It's just all ground up into mush. And he actually puts it like directly then into his garden because it's already all broken down. So it's like, that's really kind of a cool idea. So if you end up going to a garage sale and you come across an old garbage disposal, or something, an old sink would be helpful to have too. But it's really a great idea to add to it, especially in the north here, where our weather we don't have that much time throughout the year between when winter stops and then winter starts again to fully compost things. So the more that you can break them down, I know, Huffman, isn't that a great idea? I think it was just super. So yeah, to be able to break that down faster instead of big chunks, or putting a branch of leaves in there, it's like, yeah, send them through a wood chipper and stuff. I know that not everybody can afford a wood chipper, but even if you had a pile of branches or something that you wanted to do, and somebody else that had a wood chipper, or you could rent one for one afternoon a summer or something like that, and just run them through and get them done. That would be worth it too, to add in there. So anyway, so that is one thing that to add to your garden. So adding organic matter. You can buy bagged or bulk amounts of organic matter, like finished compost, natural wood mulch or shredded bark, leaf litter, mushroom compost, worm castings, like I mentioned before. So all of those are great organic matter. So why does organic, hey, Minnesota Mama Bear, hi. Avoid mixing bark or wood chunks in with garden soil. It will tie up the nitrogen in the soil, causing plants to not be able to access it. Okay. That's a good point. Yeah, so that's where, you'd want to put it into your compost pile so it can continue to break down. And again, like I said, we don't want to have anything recognizable in your soil that you add to your garden beds. So why does organic matter work so well for for both extremes of like clay soil and sandy soil and everything. Well, so the answer lies in the living network of soil organisms that develop. The soil organisms that are created and develop in that mass of biodegradable goodness, everything. The organisms that break down the raw material into soil, let's say, you know, chicken manure and stuff like that, or whatever you clean the coop out, all of that stuff, the bedding and everything. So you've got this pile of straw and manure and everything that's in there. The organisms take that and they break them down into soil particles. When you think of it, it's just like not only fascinating, it's just amazing thing that little microscopic organisms can do to take that matter and turn it into something else. It's like so cool. But anyway, these organisms are the ones creating the ingredients that allow the particulates to bind together in various sizes. So they work and they bind the sand to the organic material, and they'll work and they'll bind the clay with that organic material and create this wonderful new stuff. So yes, they have a symbiotic relationship. Absolutely. So when they do that, they create pockets of space for air and water to collect and move, and then the roots can more easily expand. So in heavy clay, it makes it less dense. Roots can spread more and breathe. The water can drain better and everything. In loose, sandy soil, the particles are now sharing the space with smaller, stickier particles that create different things that, below the surface. And it creates a greater water and nutrient holding capacity that would otherwise pass through before the plants could even use them. So, hey, Dave. Oh, I bet it was beautiful. I mean, I'd be out there right now if I weren't talking to you guys, because it's absolutely gorgeous out right now and it's dry. So in both cases, for the clay and the sand, the organisms that live and thrive in organic matter are being fed a carbohydrate-rich diet that comes from the plant roots and the surrounding matter. In turn, these billions of microscopic living organisms are producing nutrients in a soluble form. So soluble would be, that mixes with water and different things. And it's stored on the soil particles that plant roots can take up as they need it. So it's like Patty said, it's symbiotic. It's just like it creates all of this stuff. It's so cool. So how are you today, Minnesota Mama Bear? Aren't you enjoying this beautiful day? I think Matt and Sarah must be out in the garden because I haven't seen hide nor hair of them. So Teeming with Microbes is the Gardener's Guide to Soil Life. Ooh, that sounds like a good one. Teeming with Microbes. All right. So all this information I've put in the show notes below. So there are links to all of this. So anyway, so that's for building up your soil. If you've got clay, you've got sand and everything, and you're trying to amend your soil. But we're still talking about toxic soil and things that, you've gotten some bad soil. So the other thing that we do is get a soil test. And the best way to know what type of soil you have and how to bring it into a good chemical balance with the pH thing and the standpoint of that is to get a soil test. We've talked about those before. There's a link below that tells actually what they will test for and everything. So soil test won't directly help improve the structure of your soil, but it will help you to fine tune the chemical balance in there. Testing for herbicide residues can also be helpful. So if you're thinking that things aren't growing, I think I may have gotten a bad batch of soil, you can test for the herbicide residues when attempting to determine the cause of unknown crop injury or a failure or something. There are two main options for testing for herbicide residues in soil. The first option is to send a soil sample to a lab for analysis. Now, this would be probably more for for farmers who have acres and acres and acres of land that this is affecting, and it's like, okay, and it might do that because it can be a little spendy. But anyway, they'll do chemical screens, and many labs will do that, and they will test for a wide array of herbicides. And it might be, however, again, it might be costly, time consuming, and maybe even a little misleading, but depending on what they're testing for and different things. So predicting some potential crop damage that may result from herbicide residues, that can, predicting if they're going to be good or not, if they're going to make it through the year, can actually be hard to detect by the laboratory soil or now. I can't talk to soil analysis. So anyway, if you suspect that there's herbicide damage, some poison in your soil, then that might be worth your time and different things. So good tip, Dave. Good tip. You have a home test kit for some things and send them out for more precise. There you go. Yeah, home tests will focus more on the pH and the, your nitrogen, etc. levels and different things like that. But when you start getting into the poisons that are in there and what's what, sending it off. So the Ag Extension is funded by a state college. There you go. Very, very good. So, so you can do that. The other way you could test it if you suspect that your soil has been poisoned is that, like, before, say you have a planting date of June 1st and you had gotten the soil, back in April or something like that, and you're like, I wonder if it was okay. Maybe you'd heard some scuttlebutt through the grapevine about, something bad coming from that particular company, and so you're really worried about it. One thing you can do is, a few weeks before you're going to plant your main crops, whatever it is there, put in a few seeds and test it out. If they start growing or not growing according to what you think might happen, if they're poisoned, then that's a good test too, to kind of do a few test seeds in that way. Yeah, I think each state is going to be a little bit different for what the state is able to fund and the things that are there. The beans recommended for grazon. Okay, but there's a pretty cool thing. So you can actually use activated charcoal to help remediate contaminated soil. Now, activated charcoal or carbon, they call it also activated carbon, it can reduce herbicide contamination in specific areas, like in your gardens, your greenhouse, and your lawns even. If you've had a dump truck full of dirt that's brought in and you're putting grass seed down and you're like, why is my yard not growing? Why is the grass not growing? It might be contaminated too. You can use this, and it can also be used to mitigate any pesticide spills that might happen somewhere. But it can also be used, this is so cool, as a root dip to partially protect transplants like your tomatoes, your peppers, strawberries, ornamentals, and everything. If you dip them in that first before you plant them, if you suspect that your soil has got some stuff in there and everything. Hey, Donna. Hi. How are you? So activated carbon or charcoal, used in a wide range of applications in diverse industries, is made by heating or chemically treating organic matter to create a porous structure. Now there's a link below. Let me see. Oh, I don't have it. Um, here we go. So this is a good article on making your own activated charcoal. So you can make your own, and uh, one of the others actually tells on how much to put in, or maybe that one does, but how, what's the ratio. You don't want to dump in like a whole, you know, wheelbarrow load in a single bed or something like that. Um, Now you can, says this gives a large surface area within a relatively small volume. Most activated carbon products are purified by acid and water, and it washes to by acid. Sorry, let's start that again. Most activated carbon products are purified by acid and water washes to remove impurities and are available in both granular and powdered form. So you can buy it. You just have to be careful what your source is. Charcoal for outdoor grills cannot be ground up to achieve the same porous structure of activated charcoal on a pound for pound basis. So don't think you can just go and get your charcoal briquettes and have fun. That's not quite the same thing. So how to get a hold of some activated charcoal? Well, some garden supply centers actually carry the packaged stuff that's designed for the uses that we're talking about. Um, Actually, activated carbon is used extensively in dry cleaning and water purification. So it's going to really help to purify your soil in that way. But again, it should be used as and considered as an emergency treatment. Try to do all these other things first, the organic matter, all of the things that you can to do that. But, um, and even putting, now activated charcoal is different than putting like wood ash in there. So you want to do everything you can to help to clean it up. Now, wood ash would be a really good thing to do on a regular basis, and have that in there. So, uh, to help balance things out, to help purify things, all that kind of stuff. Um, Hi, Michigan Daffodil. You were gone all afternoon. You got home in time. Oh, that was so sweet, though. I'm so glad that you're thinking about that. Um, so, if an area is contaminated with undesirable herbicide residues, and a crop is going to go in that's going to be very susceptible to it, apply activated carbon or charcoal at approximately 5 pounds for 1,000 square feet. So figure out what, not like your total garden space, but the actual space that you would be doing, whether it's just your raised beds or, if you have rows, figure out, the square footage for your rows and that type of thing. So, 5 pounds per 1,000 square feet. And the carbon can be mixed at a rate of 1 pound to 10 pounds of sand and applied with fertilizer spreading equipment. If you're doing a big area on lawns and stuff like that. And then you irrigate it, let it set for several days before planting, because you want it to help that carbon, the charcoal, the nature of that is to draw impurities to itself. That's what it does in, like you said, fish aquariums, in ventilator, different things that they use charcoal in to purify things. And whether it's water filtration or air filtration or whatever, it helps to draw impurities to itself. So if you put it in your soil, water it, give it some time for it to draw the impurities in there. Now, you don't want to just spread it on the top layer. You want to kind of help mix it down to about 6 inches, so you don't have to go super deep, but they say usually about 6 inches. And then you can sprinkle a little bit on the top, but you want it to be able to start cleaning out that soil that the roots would be drawing from, the most and things like that. So that is the bulk of the activated charcoal. So I just think that's so cool that there is something there that we can do to help to draw all that out. And it's like, oh, okay, thank you. So once you're able to get that down and continue to test your soil occasionally and then adjust the pH level, just continue adding organic matter, continue doing that. So the best soil is the kind that continues to get periodic applications of additional amendments. So it's not like, oh, 5 years ago I put all this stuff in there and it should have been good. It's like, no, just like every spring, every fall or something, just keep adding some things in there. And um, Donna, I am not sure to water the plants with it. Are you thinking about outside or in the house? Or I think it would depend on if it were contaminated that you'd want to do that with. I wouldn't want to put it right on the leaves or the plants themselves, definitely just right on the soil. But they did say to let it set several days before planting because it might be too harsh for the for new roots and different things. So if you tried it, I would do just a couple of things that maybe are not as important in the garden. Just try something on a couple plants and see what happens. I wouldn't do a whole bed of things, but that would be a good experiment. You should, if you wanted to try that, if that's something you're looking to try, then let us know how that comes out. I think that'd be great. Yes, wood ash makes soil more base and pine needles makes it more acid. Yes. Sunflowers draw out heavy metals. There you go. Yep. You can always do a whole field of sunflowers 1 year if you have really contaminated soil. You could put that in there. That's a good point, Gil. Yes, and then make sure you throw them away because you don't want to eat anything that comes out of the contaminated soil. And I feel for Jess. Oh my goodness. After all this time and all that work and expense and everything of trying to get her high tunnels going, and then it's like all contaminated soil. But it's definitely shows us what can happen out there and everything. So try it on weeds. There you go. Wonder if bentonite clay would help to it might. I don't know what those properties are compared to activated charcoal. If they have the same kind of drawing out of the poisons and everything, that I don't know, Julie. So that would be thanks, Gil, so much. Good luck for that tonight. I don't know if I'll be able to be on or not, but that's congratulations on the subs, and so glad that things are growing for you. That's so good. Borage flowers taste good. Your plant is flat. Nice. Yeah, so keep adding organic matter. So Mother Nature's army of microscopic organisms, arthropods, and earthworms will do the work of breaking everything down, that organic matter. They take it deeper into the soil right where it's needed. So if your organic matter is like 2 inches down or something from the surface, it's not going to stay there. They're going to take that and draw that down. Keep eating on it. But you can work it into the top several inches of existing soil, so it can go a little faster. All right. Just remember that whatever you have to do to amend, to fix the soil, is not a one-time fix, but it is a process, right? Should try freezing them in ice cubes. Ooh, that would be pretty. That would be pretty. So I gave you links for one website that's for improving soil, another one that talks about deactivating the herbicide residues. Another thing that talks about soil tests and actually what they test for and what it shows and all that kind of things. So you can kind of, or actually I have two links there. And what you can do to improve your soil from that. And then one on making your own activated charcoal. So that was lots of pictures too. And it's kind of an interesting process. And so you not only have to burn they want hardwood. They said that's the best. And I think they gave particular woods that work the best for that. But you burn it, of course, let it cool down a little bit, and then you grind it all up. And then you have to add, what did they say? I think they said sodium carbonate to it or something like that. I know sodium bicarbonate is baking soda, but the sodium carbonate, is that lye? I don't remember. So anyway, it's that one will help a lot. So yeah, it will stay for a while, but if you can get some of these things in there, will help draw that poison out. It will help a lot. And I think just allowing the bed to rest, that soil to rest, if you're able to either start another bed somewhere else or, just to be able to put that in, cover it up, and just let it rest and, let the water do its thing, take care of it. So I think that will help. It should help. So, all right. Let me see. Am I missing anything here? So, okay. So we've got our garden tip for the day is to learn your water needs for the different fruits and veggies that you grow. Not everything needs the same amount. You might have something that needs to get completely dry and to be dry for a few days, and then it's like wants a really good drink of water and wants that deep watering and everything else. I think 4 o'clocks are definitely like that. Some of them you can overwater if say you have another plant that needs a lot of water. When your squash and your melons and everything are starting to really grow out and the plants are getting big and they're starting to fruit out, they take a lot of water from the soil, a lot of moisture. And if you're able to, water those as often as they need to, that will help them stay healthy and grow. You can tell when the water is not enough there for them because they get all wilty, the leaves just all drump. Oh, soda ash. Oh, there we go. Okay. Soda ash. Thank you. And so those plants need a lot more. Cucumbers, it helps them grow faster. You do have to be careful not to overwater because they can end up bursting, because they grow so fast, they end up bursting through the skin. But you also don't want them to get dry because then the fruits dry up and, different things. So anyway, there's some plants that just need a regular amount of moisture. Others like to get dry. So kind of learn your plants and then water accordingly. Don't just sweep through your garden and just dump on everything, and because that might be an issue for, if you have beans and you've mulched them heavily, they're going to stay moist a lot longer. You don't want to keep watering them because then your leaves will start to turn yellow and you're like, what's going on? Because you're overwatering. So, just different things like that. So kind of learn what you've got. Yes, there's one exactly, Patty. Uh, Celery loves water. I would say the fruits and veggies take that are more water based. You've got watermelon and celery, and ones that are like 90% water or something like that. They need a lot of water. So, and there's just some others that don't need it. And there's some herbs that can get by with, I know my sage doesn't need much water, different things like that. So again, if you water them too much, they don't like that. So anyway, just kind of learn what you've got there. And all you have to do is do some research and figure out, it's like, how much water do my tomatoes need? How much water does this need? And again, it depends on your soil. Depends on, if you've got sandy soil, clay soil, if you've got a lot of organic matter in there, if you're mulching heavily, you don't need to water as often, all that kind of stuff. Hi, Debbie. Moisture meter. Oh, yeah, there you go. That can really help. Um, and then my prep tip for tonight is, we've talked about this before, it's been a while, but about learning new skills, for homesteading and for all the things we do. And we talk about it, but, it's been a while. So think about learning one new skill this summer before fall in each of these areas: gardening, whether it's just learning how to water your everything properly, the gardening, preserving. Maybe you've never preserved tomatoes. Maybe you've never made jelly. Maybe you've never done dehydrated or something like that. Learn one new skill in preserving, and then one DIY thing. And that can be whatever you want. I mean, it could be from composting to, um, building a little shelf or a stool, or just taking, scraps of something and making something functional from it. I don't know what it is, but just some little DIY project that gives you some sense of, not only satisfaction, but learning how to take the cast-offs, the trash, the scrap stuff around you, and make something from it, because that's what they had to do during wartime, in the 30s and World War I and II. There wasn't anything around that they could just go to the store and buy, and we're starting to see a lot of that happening. But it's like, okay, I need to have this for my home or my garden, and it's like, what do I have around here? What does a neighbor have that maybe I could trade for or pay for it or something, and see what I could build. And so, yes, repurposing. Yes, exactly. And just trying to, excuse me, I'm trying to figure that out. Algae is growing on top of your soil. Um, is that in your pots, or in big containers, or in your little your little plant pots? Um, if it's kind of a mossy type of thing, um, usually if it's just in your starts or whatever, cinnamon can help prevent that from growing. But yeah, some air circulation. If they're in your greenhouse, make sure there's a fan, or there's wind going through. But yes, Donna, that's a good point too. Some circulation, or maybe it's time to get them in the ground, um, pot them. Although that's right, you're growing in containers, so to try to do that. So anyway, guys, that is an hour here. We're wrapping up, and it's been fun. So soda ash, but yes, activated charcoal. And like I said, if you can't find it at a garden supply store, you can figure out how to make your own, just in a bucket outside. Not a plastic bucket, a metal bucket. You don't want to burn in a plastic bucket. So, uh, um, you can mulch with crushed rock or sand to help avoid that too. Okay, good point. Amazon has activated charcoal. Okay, great. Yeah, it doesn't take much for all of your beds. I mean, like all of my beds out there, I think I've got 150 square feet. So 5 pounds covers 1,000 square feet. So I would use like half a pound for all of my beds. And half a pound, I mean, it's 8 ounces. That's not very much. That's 1 cup, essentially. And so it doesn't take much in there. You don't want to overburden your garden, that type of thing. Yeah. So true, Dave. So true. You do it once, but then you're going to have all the toxins from the plastic mixed into your activated charcoal, and you're defeating the purpose there too. So, um, all right, Christy, thank you so much. I really appreciate that, and thank you guys for all your prayers and for keeping going with me. I really appreciate that. You guys take care. God bless. Always have hope. And we will see you next week. I think it's 4th of July next Monday. So I might be here. I might not. If if I'm not going to be here, I'll post something in the community page, but I think I'll be here. I need the break. So, all right. Maybe it'll just be a story night. Okay. Hugs and prayers to you guys too. Good night.